We decided to make some introductions, but what kind of girls do they want?
We're just looking for a woman that's breathing.
I know we can do better than that, so we filled our studio audience with single women, find out what happens when these guys from North Dakota meet the gals of New York.
WAZ, TV 52, Evansville.
Local sports leader. Week 3's coverage of high school football here on TV 52. Again with Doug Emick, I'm Darren Smith. It's not a bad matchup for our first morning telecast in quite some time. That due, of course, to Cardinals baseball and our contract with them last night.
Tell you what, a great ball game, and you look at these two teams coming in, a lot of hype as far as the city is concerned, talking about probably one of the best matchups this year. When you look at Reitz, they're 2-0, ranked in the top 10 this week as far as 5A is concerned. Harrison also 2-0. They are honorable mention this week.
This is our first look at the Harrison Warriors in 93 on 52. And another good storyline like he was last year and just a junior is that of the quarterback, Keith Lander.
Got a good idea of what he could do last year. Not the starting quarterback at the beginning of the season, but I think Mitch Marsh, the coach for Harrison, found out if he could get him in there, give him some experience, that would help him last year. And as you said, just a junior, he has proved himself very valuable this year.
Kendall Wilson did not play last year, academically ineligible. He is back this year. Is he back? About 125 yards rushing in his past 2 weeks.
This is going to be a very good ball game, and you look really at both ball clubs, Harrison as well as Reitz. They both have good running games. You mentioned Wilson for Harrison. You've also got Chris Reed for Reitz. I think the big key tonight is going to be the play of the defensive line for both ball clubs. Also, both clubs' ability to get the passing game going.
That 125 yards rushing is an average for Wilson. He'll have to get by the very tough Reitz defense. Again, that is the top story following Reitz football here in 1993.
You look at the defense and really the offense. They are both kind of in and out, similar to one another. Very big. Pretty good quickness, though, on the front line. And I think, as I said, that's going to be the key. If the defensive lineman for Reitz can get into the backfield, let those linebackers come up a little bit, that could cause some problem for the running game tonight for Harrison.
Offensively for the Panthers, I talked about this 2 weeks ago. No one's going to replace an Andre Vaughn. One who's picking up some of those yards lost is that of Chris Reed.
We saw him last year as well, and I think because he is a senior, you look for him to really be a leader out there. He has gotten over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns in each of the first 2 games for Reitz, so that is going to be a big key for the Panthers.
The best of last night here on this Saturday morning. It is Reitz and Harrison coming up after this timeout.
What do you look for in a pharmacy? What do you look for in the drugs that you buy? Assurance, that's the key. Assurance that you will be given consistently low prices, and assurance that Rugby and your CIP pharmacy will be there for you and your family for years to come. The next time you visit your community independent pharmacy for a prescription or over-the-counter medication and you're asked, would you like the generic? Say yes to the many products by Rugby. Rugby is determined to provide you and your family with quality in national brand comparables at a much lower price than the brand name. Assurance, honesty, integrity, and staying power. That's what you get with Rugby and your community independent pharmacy. Watch carefully for the CIP pharmacy in your area. Remember, Rugby and your community independent pharmacies are names you can trust with prices you can afford, and the assurance they will be around to fill your next prescription.
Gelhausen Seasonal Store has changed. Where you shopped for fall and Christmas, you can now find a
30th meeting ever between the Harrison Warriors and the Reitz Panthers. Doug Emick, Darren Smith playing Saturday morning quarterback. The best of last night here at Enlow Field. Panthers and Warriors come in undefeated at 2-0 apiece.
And this should be a very good ball game. Reitz ranked number 6 this week in the 5A polls in the state of Indiana. Their victories 29-7 over New Albany, 34-13 last week over Central. Harrison also 2-0. They made honorable mention this week. 2-0 coming in, 42-12, the opening week victory over Jeffersonville. Last week they beat North 28-21.
And Reitz leads this series 20-8. There was one tie back in 1965 at 12 apiece. But we focus our attention in 1993, and Harrison has tremendous speed. I think offensively both teams may come in evenly matched into a second week with one of the best quarterbacks on Harrison's side in Keith Lander. Defense, maybe no match in Reitz. We saw that a couple of weeks ago against the New Albany Bulldogs. On week 3, we kick it off on this Saturday morning. Reitz and Harrison.
And usually whenever you see the Reitz Panthers, especially the last couple seasons, it's always going to be a comparison. Quickness against the size, and obviously Harrison very quick. You mentioned the quarterback. Pretty good job. We saw him last year a little bit. Keith Lander, he is now a junior, so he's got a lot of experience under his belt. Also pretty quick in the backfield. Kendall Wilson and also Chad Lamar.
Well, Gaddis saying back on Friday morning, this will be physical football at its best. We are underway as we watch it back on this Saturday morning. The Harrison Warriors looking for excellent field position as we begin week number 3.
Offensively for the Harrison Warriors, as mentioned, Keith Lander, the quarterback. The tailback, Kendall Wilson. Chad Lamar, the fullback. Sean Bennett, the flanker. The split end, Craig Stewart. Across the front line, Ed Hathaway at one tackle. Chris Harvey, the other tackle. Chris Kaufman and Chris Almack, the guards. Matt Kelsey, the center. And Matt Elliott, the tight end.
First look at the Warriors this year in 93. And Mitch Marsh, optimistic again, as well he should be. How well do they stack up against Reitz? That question has been asked the past month. We find out here this morning. Lander, first option is to pass, and wide open is that of Sean Bennett.
I mentioned at the top of the telecast during the pregame, it's going to be very interesting. Both very good ground teams right here. It's going to be, I think, a matter of who is able to really get the passing game started early.
You know, Reitz defense has only allowed just 2 touchdowns in the 2 weeks, and one was set up by a turnover. It just tells you a little bit more about that Reitz Panther defense. It's very, very tough. I'm expecting more of a passing offense this week by the Harrison Warriors.
Talking about the front line of that Reitz team as far as defense, Casey Kolszewski at one end, Mike Hahn the other end. Scott Benson and Gary Mays, the tackles.
Nice grab by Kendall Wilson. As mentioned, he was ineligible last season. And what a name he is making for himself in 1993, averaging 125 yards rushing in the first 2 weeks.
Both he and Chris Reed had very good 2 first weeks for both clubs. Wilson, 20 carries, 108 yards the first week against Jeffersonville. He scored 3 touchdowns. Last week against North, 26 carries, 144, 3 touchdowns again.
His second out and 7 for the Warriors. In week number 3, both teams looking to remain perfect in the city and SIAC. Make a hole for this guy again. Kendall Wilson will be close to another Warrior first down. Impressed by the Warriors. Ground game and air game during their first possession.
I think this is going to be a very big game for them. Coming in, they knew that they were facing a very tough Reitz ball club. Pre-game preparations as far as trying to get everybody pumped up, that was not really a problem tonight.
Harrison says they will use their speed, not just this week. Throughout this 93 season, they have plenty of it. First out and 10 and just underway. Week number 3 of high school football here on 52. And Lander, who can mix it up with the best of them. Some call him the very best quarterback in the SIAC. Again, he is just a junior. That worked the second time. Here again is Wilson. That's the second time on the pitch back to Wilson, and Wilson again finding the holes here on the outset.
That time a play option fake with fullback Chad Lamar going through the line first, and a pretty good fake that time by Keith, although the Reitz defense really didn't bite too much. You saw as soon as he faked the handoff, one of the defensive linemen was right in there. He even make a quick pitch back to Wilson.
Gain of 8, second down and 2 here. Warriors right upfield here on the opening drive against the Warriors. Key matchup this early in the season, aren't they all? Here again is Wilson. Wilson going to pick up the first down, this time a little bit more. This must be the most success any team has had this early in the season against this mighty Panther defense.
We mentioned the front line of Reitz, the middle linebackers as well as the outside linebackers, very vital parts of this group. Keith Mossberg and Chris Garrett, the 2 outside linebackers. Andy Haight, Jake Carl, the middle line, or the inside linebackers. Eric Dassel, Brian Vogel, and Chris Reed, the backs.
Mitch Marsh takes a timeout this early with the ball on the 16-yard line. You're looking at, again, 1st and 10, and the option has been that of Wilson. We talked about him at the top of the telecast.
Very quick, and so far the front line for Harrison has done a pretty good job knocking back that front line of Reitz, being able to give the backs a pretty decent hole to get through. I mentioned the linebacking crew. Andy Hape, really the big part of that group. He had 18 tackles in the New Albany victory.
And the Harrison senior running back again of Kendall Wilson rushed for 108 yards against Jeffersonville and 144 yards against North last weekend. So you wonder how much more potent this team would have been last year after they developed that winning streak before falling to North later on. And that would be in the sectional championship. Reitz beat Harrison 13-7 a year ago. It took overtime at Reitz Bowl. The Warriors have only lost once since then. Again, that was that sectional defeat, 20-7 to North at 92. Again, first down and 10 for the Harrison Warriors. A little bit closer again, ball on the 16-yard line. And it's been Wilson. Just over the 15.
That time fullback Chad Lamar, 6 feet, 194 pounds, and a senior. He was a big part of the offense last year in that same position. I think with Wilson there this year, that's going to kind of give him a little bit more luxury. You're going to see him used a lot more in the blocking role as far as a fullback is concerned, but he's also capable of making some big runs.
Second down, 9 to go here for the Harrison Warriors, the team that finished 7-4 last year, where they were 5-2 in the SIAC. This would be one of the losses right here. Lander again is back to pass. Deeper this time, just out of the reach. Maybe to the far side, looking inside the 5. The pass intended for, again, Sean Bennett.
And Sean is one of the big players as far as the passing game is concerned. He had 3 receptions, good for 65 yards in that victory over Jeffersonville. And that's going to be something I think both teams are going to have to do quite often tonight, because they have been very successful with the running game the first 2 weeks. Try to establish a passing game so the opposition's defense can't slowly rely on that running game.
Bennett one that goes a couple of ways here. Warriors defensive secondary is full of speed. Bennett's part of that with Lander, Wilson, and Marshawn Merriweather. Here's a chance for the first. Bennett is in or at the 1-yard line. Just short. 1 yard to go for the Warriors.
Just a little quick screen pattern where you saw Sean on the near side split out wide, took 1 step forward and then immediately went back. A great quick pass right there from Keith. And you got the blockers out in front of you. Good job by Sean getting towards the goal line. They're going to spot it just outside the goal line on the 1.
That looks almost shorter than a yard from here. 8.5 to go in our opening quarter, and knocking on the door the first time, here are the Harrison Warriors. Lander's been to the air 3 times to Bennett. This time again, Wilson with a flag on the play. We have a touchdown. And it did not take long. We'll wait and see what the flag is.
Came from the referee behind the line of scrimmage, and as I said last week, most of the time you see a flag coming from that area, it's going to be against the offense. And right now you can see the officials, Steve Bagby, the referee tonight, getting together with his partners down there to make sure that they've got the right call.
So this will push Harrison back just outside the 5. And the Warriors here are looking at first down and 6 to go. This is where the Reitz defense has been very potent. Like I said, they've allowed just 2 touchdowns in the opening 2 weeks. Able to hold them, particularly outside this 5. It toughens up. Here's first and 6 again. Trying to squeeze through. That was Lander and company with some help. It inside the 5 for a second time.
Another quarterback option that time. Keith elected just to take it up the gut himself. Got it back inside the 5. They're going to spot it right about the 5-yard line, just a little bit closer to the goal line than the 5. So it's going to be a second down, and they're going to call it 4.
Goal to go here for the Harrison Warriors. Success early, good field position to start at about midfield. 4 minutes elapsed here in our opening quarter. They're looking to score first. One called back. Again, they'll go way to the outside. This again is Wilson. Back inside the 5. Touchdown, Harrison Warriors.
Well, we talked about it at the top of the show that this is going to be a very good Harrison ball club, and when you add an addition like Kendall Wilson, and we talked about what he's done the first 2 weeks, that's the speed right there. You get to the outside, you want to get that corner to where you can get a little bit wider than some of the defensive end and the cornerbacks coming up.
Good field position to start the opening drive. And in just under 4.5 minutes, the Warriors have the first 6. Doing the kicking this year for the Warriors. One of a couple. This is Craig Stewart. First 7 belong to the Harrison Warriors. Over the Reitz Panthers, we watch it back on this Saturday morning. High school football's Week 3 coverage continues right here on TV 52.
Gelhausen Seasonal Store has changed. Where you shopped for fall and Christmas, you can now find a wide array of colorful flowers in bloom. Gelhausen Seasonal Store has designer floral and wildflower bouquets so realistic they'll fool Mother Nature. Or capture the essence of nature with an elegantly decorated arbor, hand-wrapped with florals and vines. Your decorating possibilities are endless. Remember Gelhausen's for all your holiday and seasonal motifs. When the seasons change, so does the decor at Gelhausen Seasonal Store.
Russ Matthews Billiard Pro Shop has everything for the pool player. Come see a professional for your pool cues. 9 different brands to choose from. Cue cases by George, the premier manufacturer in the country. Take lessons from an expert. Individual or group lessons available. Brunswick and Casson Game Table Sales and Service. Come see the 1985 number 3 ranked player in the world for billiards, gifts, game room decor, and more. Russ Matthews Billiards Pro Shop across from Elder Bierman.
Well, good morning with Doug Emick. I'm Darren Smith, and the best from a Friday night. The Harrison Warriors and the Reitz Panthers. Reitz first time with the football, and one we've talked about has been all so impressive. Mr. Chris Reed out to the 49-yard line.
You talked about excellent field position last time from Harrison. They started at their own 42. They went 58 yards in 4:21. 7:39 left in the first quarter. 7-0 Harrison, but Reed gives Reitz good field position again, and a great tackle right there by the kicker, Craig Stewart. He saved a possible touchdown right there.
Like I said, you're not going to replace an Andre Vaughn, who gained more than 2,000 yards last season. But picking up some of that loss will be Chris Reed in 1993. 1st and 10, first time for the Panthers. They trail 7-0 to the Harrison Warriors. Severs again gets the starting dart as quarterback. There's again is Reed. And Reed is off for the first 6. For the Reitz Panthers, it did not take long.
One play, 48 yards, and we talked about his ability and what he has done to this point. You look at similar comparisons between Chris and also Kendall. They each have 3 touchdowns in the first 2 games. Chris had 114 yards in the victory against New Albany. Last week against Central, 181 yards. Just like that, when Harrison thought they might have the advantage, the momentum going their way, a good return on the kickoff, and then one play they're in the end zone.
Ryan Jessup for the point after. Just like that, we may have a tie ball game. Ryan Vogel on the hold. Reitz looking to tie at 7 here. All this in the opening few minutes. It's up, it's good, we're tied at 7. We take this timeout. On a Saturday morning, the best of high school football's Friday night continues on TV 52.
What if we told you there's a bank that offers the best checking package you'll find anywhere? With no hassles, just lots of benefits, privileges, and perks. All in one package. All for you. Yeah, you. Got it? Bonus Checking Plus. Only from Old National. You knew it all along, right?
For Auto, Home, Farm, and Business Insurance Security, representing Meridian Mutual, Indiana Insurance, Westfield, and GRE Insurance. An agency featuring courteous service by licensed qualified staff with 24-hour claim service, offering 79 years of experience management, stability, and growth.
I'm Darren Smith with Doug Emick back out at Enlow Field, where we will be later on tonight when the Mater Dei or the Memorial Tigers take on the Bossy Bulldogs. Memorial falling short to Mater Dei last week with 28 seconds remaining. And now the other side, Bossy later on tonight looks to go to 3-0. On this Saturday morning, you're watching back the Harrison Warriors and the Reitz Panthers all tied up at 7.
Reitz not giving our viewing public at home too much time to go to the refrigerator in between touchdowns. Good return by Chris Reed, and then he goes 48 yards. One play from scrimmage for Reitz.
Good scrambling quarterback at times, too. Unfortunately for Keith Lander, he's playing against the best defense in the area.
Probably not going to find too many high school teams that have the size of this Reitz Panther ball club. We saw them last year, and we mentioned through last year and even previewing this year. They did not lose a lot as far as their offense or defensive line. We've talked about the front line defensively. Their front line on the offensive line averaging about 257 pounds.
Well, you take a look at this defensive addition. I mentioned these numbers a couple of weeks ago. Josh Wicker, 295. Chris Kasinger, 255. Haight goes about 235, and Kevin Bruce about 250. Chelsea Van Zandt, the team center, a good 250 also. Reitz, a little bit better defensively during the second drive of the Warriors. Still holding them short. You're looking at about third down, and I would say about 4 to go.
Actually lost a little bit on that play. Moves it all the way back to about the 43-yard line. So you've got a long 4, maybe call it 5, and a big third down play right here for the Harrison Warriors.
Warriors a little trouble the first time, punching in the first 7 in 4.5 minutes. Reitz turned around 1 minute later and tied this at 7. All in the first quarter. 5:19 showing in the first. Again, throw it back here to Mr. Wilson. We could begin for a long scoring ball game. Touchdown, Harrison Warriors.
We talked about the excitement of these two ball clubs, both coming in undefeated. Reitz ranked number 6 in the 5A poll this week. If they went top 20, Harrison would have been tied at 11th. They are honorable mention this week. I don't know that we expected to see this much scoring this early in the ball game, though.
Well, I talked about the score last year. Only 20 points were scored in that 13-7 overtime victory for the Panthers. Right now, it's 13-7, and we have not even played about 7 minutes here. The point after is up. It is good. Harrison strikes again and again. At 14-7, we take this timeout from Enlow Field. High school football on TV 52.
You saw the car of your dreams today, and you said, I got to have it. We want you to know there's one place to go to get what you want when you want it. You know deep inside you need a new ride, and we know how that makes you feel. When you get the hot, we got a cool deal. When you get the hot, we got a cool deal.
In a world of ever-changing standards, goals, and values, it's reassuring to know that some things never change. Things like when you have your family and your health, you have everything. Deaconess is the right decision.
Play on at Enlow Field as we watch it back on this Saturday morning. I'm Buren Smith with Doug Emmett, Chris Reed. Able to get out to about the 35-yard line where it's 1st and 10 for the Reitz Panthers.
And it looks like we are in for a scoring machine type of game here tonight. Harrison getting on the board first. Reitz answering right back. One play from scrimmage, 48 yards for their touchdown to tie it up. And then about a minute 50, 73 yards. Second time tonight, Kendall Wilson, that time from 57 yards out for the touchdown. The extra point good. Harrison now leading 14-7.
Didn't take long for the Panthers to strike back the first time. Severs here leads into first down and 10. 4:40 here to go in our opening quarter. And it's 14-7 in favor of Harrison. Severs dropped that ball, had to hop right back on top of it. You know, it surprises me, the 14 quick points against Reitz, for a couple of factors. We've talked so much about their defense last year and this year. Last year, they just gave up 45 points to SIAC opponents, the lowest total given up since 1986. 14 points that quickly. Talk about uncharacteristic.
Good job right there, though, by Chris, falling on the ball after he saw that it got loose a little bit. And that kind of was a problem last week, even though it was a victory over Central. They had 4 fumbles. They lost 3 of those.
Second down and 10 here for the Panthers. And Severs tries to bring it back up the middle. And Harrison, not as big as Reitz as far as defense goes. Impressed me a little bit last year, as I'm sure they'll do again this year. When you're talking Harrison, the first thing you look at is their speedy offense. They're not too bad on defense.
They've got some pretty good size on the front line. The defensive ends, Chip Kimberlin and Marcus Hamilton. The tackles, Chad Barnett, Brian DeTalent. Middle linebacking core of Kevin Sissel, Jeremy Redd, Chad Lamar, and Ed Hathaway. And the backs, Sean Bennett, Kendall Wilson, and Marshawn Merriweather, the safety.
Third down and 9 here for the Panthers. Seaver's first time to the air, pass complete for the first down and some more. He impressed me a couple of weeks ago, and he'll do it again. John Reitz,
flanker, 5'11", 171. We saw him quite a bit last year, and he is another good one that you really expect to see pretty good results as far as receiving. He had 4 catches last week for 96 yards. And probably the best 2 games as far as the passing department was last week for Reitz. They were 7 for 12. Even though they had 3 interceptions, they threw for 144 yards.
Reitz, one of the great mispronunciations of 1992. Doug called him Ridashir. Reitz, first and 10 here. That's one of 4 Reitzers for that family, and they all play football. Seavers has some room. Pass complete. Pick up maybe 5 on the play. Second down and 5 for the Panthers.
That pass complete to the tight end, Kyle Hendricks, 6 feet, 191 and a senior. Offensively, we didn't get to go through the offense for Reitz because they scored on the first play last possession. Chris Seavers, the quarterback, 5'10", 171 and a junior. The backs, Chris Reed, a tailback. Shane Ricketts, the fullback. Reitz, the flanker. Kyle Hendricks, the tight end. Chris Garrett, the split end. And across the front, the big guys, Josh Wicker and Chris Kasinger, the tackles. Kevin Bruce, Andy Hafe, the guards, and Chelsea Van Zandt, the center.
And they open up so many holes, even for Chris Reed here in the opening weeks. Reed trying to get a first down. We'll be close to another Panthers first down, but that can be one of your options many a times here with the Reitz Panthers. That front line is so big, they open up those holes for players like Reed and like Vaughn last year, Doug.
And that is really, I think, an advantage that the Reitz backs are going to have. Because of the size up front, you're going to see a lot of gaping holes to where the backs really don't have to look to find a hole to get through the secondary. They just go up there and they see it and they go right through it.
Another Panthers first down just outside the 20. First and 10 and 2:15 here remaining here in the opening quarter. 14-7 in favor of the Warriors. A little bit more work this time for the Reitz Panther offense, but they continue to march downfield, and they're doing it on the ground.
You kind of expect to see a pretty good ground game, as I mentioned, from both ball clubs tonight. And I think a little bit of shock, really, from both ball clubs that they've come out and been as successful as they have this early in the ball game. Things are going to start to settle down a little bit. The offensive line for Reitz is going to be able to figure out the defense maybe for Harrison and vice versa.
Panthers 11-2 last year, 6-1 in the SIAC. Their only loss was to Boise late in the season. They revenged that loss into the postseason. Here again is Reed, and Reed has more company as he tried to sweep towards the outside. That's another nice job by that defense of Harrison, which again, I'm very impressed with.
And Chris is a very tough back to bring down. If you don't grab around his legs and wrap up when you get to him, he's going to keep those legs churning and really pick up some big yardage.
Talked about the scores at the top of the telecast, Doug. Harrison gave up just 12 points to Jeffersonville and gave up 21 to North last week. I go back to the Jeffersonville game in the opening week. If I was Mitch Marsh, I'd have to be very impressed with that. Jeff, as we know, is a very strong offensive team.
I think that really surprised him. He thought that they would probably come out with a victory opening week. They've had some success against Jeffersonville in the past, but I don't think he expected that many points and being that successful.
Seavers to Reitz. 45 seconds and ticking here away in the first quarter. You're looking at about 4th and 7 here. And this attempt would be about, I'd say, 26 yards. To put 3 on the board. Looks good from here, and it's not. Wide to the far side. And the Harrison defense is 1 for 2.
Good stand right there, and they kind of shut down this Reitz running game. Got a big passing play right there. Reitz, also Kyle Hendricks, that picked up a couple of first downs for Reitz. But they did a pretty good job concentrating on Chris Reed. I think what Reitz is going to have to do is they're going to have to use both he and Shane Ricketts. Ricketts had 14 carries last week against Central for 82 yards.
So first and 10, we're going the other way. This should be the final play of our first quarter. Harrison leading by a score of 14-7. More trouble for Lander. He works his way out of it.
Keith Lander picks up the first down all by himself, and that'll bring to a conclusion our first quarter, Doug.
That is what he is good at doing. We talk about the quickness of this Harrison ball club. He is very mobile, works well running out of the pocket, and he's one that is able to run and really throw on the run as well, so that's going to be an advantage for him. But he's also got the ability to read the defenses, and you saw it picked up a big first down right there.
We have played 12 at Enlow Field as we watch it back on this Saturday morning with you. It's 14-7 in favor of Harrison. High school football continues on TV 52.
Craftsmanship. Craftsmanship in law. Berger & Berger, making a world of difference. Here's Bob Mailing, the M&M maintenance man of M&M Auto Service.
All of the day's electronic components that controls the day's vehicles are both good and bad. Great for precise operation, terrible for tracing faults. Until now. This is the edge. The Simutech Diagnostic System Analyzer. It systematically sweeps your car's onboard computer systems to precisely and rapidly pinpoint electronic faults. You depend on your car. We'll give you the edge in taking care of it.
Early the Saturday morning quarterback with Reitz and Harrison. First quarter belongs to the Warriors, Doug.
Pretty good job, really, by both ball clubs offensively. Harrison a little bit more potent, I think, right now with their offense. They've had more time with the ball, though when Reitz first got their first possession, it only took about 35 seconds before they got on the board. A 48-yard touchdown run from Chris Reed. But a good job right to the tail end of that first quarter by the Harrison defense. They shut down that Reitz offense, tried to get a field goal, 35-yard field goal missed, and now Harrison's got the ball and driving again.
Kendall Wilson picked up 4. This is second down and 6 for the Warriors. They lead 14-7 over the Panthers. Teams trying to take the lead in the SIAC. Bossy plays tonight.
Wilson again on the carry, waiting to see if he was going to get up or not. A little bit slow. Chad Lamar, the fullback, out there blocking again as one of the pulling guards came around also. And I think that's going to be a key to stop this Harrison offense if the Reitz can shut down the running game and force them into a passing attack.
It always helps when you have a Lamar out there. Something, again, we talked about last year. That offensive line for the Warriors isn't too small either. Third down and 5 here for Harrison. And Lander works from the eye. 10:45 left till halftime. And Harrison trying to make it 3 for 3 here offensively. Wide open is Bennett. You cannot leave a player like Bennett open.
Defensive help right there. Brian Vogel, one of the cornerbacks, make sure that he was not going to get any farther than he was. Also Keith Mossberg, but because of the quickness of the quarterback Lander, he's able to get out of that pocket and look down immediately. Pretty good pressure from the defensive line from Reitz, so they pushed him out of the pocket. They just gave him too much time to find his receiver.
There was talk before this season began after Reitz, the offensive line here in the city, the second best, maybe that of Harrison. First down and 10 for the Warriors. Again, Lander works from the eye at 10:15 remaining here in the second quarter. Not much on the last.
Chad Lamar, the fullback on the carry, maybe picked up about 2. They're going to spot it about the 49-yard line. And I think we talked about the ability for Rice to really key in on Wilson. If they can get Lamar churning up some of those yardages like he did last year, that's going to be another option they can go to.
And you've got so much confidence if you're the Harrison Warriors offense. You may be playing with what some are calling possibly a future D1 player in Keith Lander. This is Wilson opening some eyes here in 93. Couldn't find one way, trying to go back up the other. Again, held short right here at midfield.
Crosses midfield, spotted inside Wright's territory, just about the 49-yard line, so pickup of maybe 1. And you can see that once he got to the outside, Reitz did a good job of containing, and that really relies on the defensive end on that, and as well as the middle linebacker coming up and filling those holes.
Third down and 7 for the Warriors. Reitz trying to stop him a first time. And Lander tries to find room. Gambles that time. Picked off. Into the arms of Reed. What better man to pick it off with his speed? Brings it back to the 39-yard line. First break for the Reitz Panthers.
Good defensive read right there by the free safety, Chris Reed. And we talked about his ability once he gets his hands on the ball. Pretty good job by his defensive crew, giving him some blocking, allowing him to get past midfield, moves the ball all the way up inside the 40-yard line.
And watch Reed here offensively. We talked so much of Andre Vaughn. Reed himself last year rushed for more than 400 yards.
Really, I think last year was a big part for Chris Reed because he got to be a part of the offense and he found out what he was capable of doing. He was a very good number 2 back when you've got a back like Andre Vaughn, much like Lamar could be this year for Harrison.
Here's Reed again. He's off to a big season on the ground. About 3 yards short of another Reitz Panthers first down. It'll be second down and about 3 to go.
And I think that Chris knew coming in, he was not going to be able to replace an Andre Vaughn. It was just a matter of him accepting his responsibility, knowing what he was capable of doing. And so far, he has lived up to that billing.
Second and 3 here for the Panthers. Trailing 14-7 as we watch it back in the AM. Reitizer again motioning through the back, and that's flagged before this really got started.
Little movement on the front line by Reitz. I think we're going to get a procedure penalty just about a split second before the ball was snapped. So we're going to push him back 5. And instead of second down and 3, it's going to be about second down and 8.
Illegal procedure will start against the Panthers.
Harrison's only flaw thus far, the interception moments ago. This is second down and I'd say closer to 8. 7.5 remaining till halftime. Again, Reitzer motions to the bottom of your screen. Make the room for Chris Reed. Reed getting back to where they were before the penalty. Maybe a yard or so more. Be an interesting third down and a couple to go here.
Picks up about 7. They're going to spot it just at the 30-yard line, so he's got about 1.5 yards to go. And I think, again, you're going to see that offensive line for Reitz really create some big holes, and this is where you really need him the most. When you've got short yardage like this, you're not really worried about getting a lot of yards. More concerned with getting the first down.
Third down, 1.5. A ground game better than a passing game. You don't have to rely on that passing game. You rely on this. Sure speed up the middle.
Fullback Shane Ricketts, 6 feet, 208, and just a junior on the carry right there inside the 20-yard line to about the 18. Picks up 12 on the play, and I mentioned Shane had a pretty good game last week against Central. 14 rushes for 82 yards.
So first and 10, 6.5 remaining till halftime. Reitz looking to strike twice. Not much scoring a year ago in overtime in the Reitz Bowl. Again, 13-7 was your score. Different storyline here at 93. Second time, Harrison read that one. Harrison working with a new defensive coordinator this year. John Williams, who was the Harrison assistant for 16 seasons, resigned over the summer to become the assistant principal here at the school. So the former line coach, Harvey Robbins, is the new defensive coordinator, and the former Boonville assistant, Larry Klein, has been moved from the freshman head coach to the varsity line coach. Changes coaching-wise for the Harrison Warriors. 16 years, John Williams, now the assistant principal.
Pickup of about 3 on the play. Good second effort right there by Shane Ricketts again. Kevin Sissel there to make contact for Harrison.
Here again is Reed, and Reed just finds the holes.
Inside the 5-yard line is going to be spotted just about the 4. So first and goal for Reitz from the Harrison 4.
Such a dangerous ground game. Some things in Reitz Panthers football don't change from year to year. Panthers look to tie it up. Again, you're looking at first and 4. Here again is Reed looking for his second, and he's just short of the Panthers' second touchdown, and not by much.
Gets it to about the 1, a pick up a 3, so a 2nd and goal now from the 1. And again, you can see he's getting a lot of leadway up there at the line of scrimmage to find those holes whenever you've got a fullback like Ricketts going in front of you, as well as that big front line for Reitz. That's really going to be a tough situation now for that front line, and you're going to see the linebackers pull up even tighter now with a goal-to-goal situation.
Ricketts or Reed to bring it on in. They've got about a yard to go here. And 14-7. Seaver's in trouble.
Harrison, I think, initially thought they had a fumble recovery, but the officials moving in saying the ball was down. When he hit the ground, he had control of the ball, and the ground cannot cause a fumble. So actually losing about 3 on the play, moving it back to the original line of scrimmage. Now you've got a 3rd and goal from the 4.
And that still doesn't hurt you if you're the Reitz Panthers offense. Like I said, look for either Reed or Shane Ricketts. If you're going through the air, you might look to Reitizer, but at 3rd down and 4, I'm staying on the ground. 3rd and 4 here for the Panthers. Reed slips before he can get back to the 5.
Great defensive stand again by the Harrison Warriors. We saw it the last time Reitz was going the other way where they forced him into a field goal situation. Now it's going to be interesting to see what Bob Gaddis and his staff elects to do. No gain on the play, so now you're looking at a 4th and goal. The ball rests right there on the Harrison 4. And it appears
he's going
that
for it.
They're going for it.
Jessup missing the last time. Has a closer target. But with this ground game, why not? If you don't get in, Harrison is very, very deep. 4th and 4. And Harrison looking to hold him again for a 2nd time. Through the air, it is picked off. Seavers, first time to the air this drive. And the Warriors stop him again.
Great defensive stand again by the Harrison Warriors, and I'm kind of surprised we didn't see a passing play on the 3rd down play, just to kind of throw a little wrinkle in right there. Big play right there. Kevin Sissel, I believe, came up with the interception, one of the outside linebackers for the Warriors.
So 1st and 10, we are going the other way. Now 3:10 remaining, so time a factor. If the Warriors want to punch in their 3rd, right now they're up by a score of 14-7. That's the defense of the Harrison Warriors. Held up inside the 6, and that penalty hurt. Talk about a fired-up Reitz Panthers defense.
Wilson on the carry again, trying to get out of that Harrison end zone area, trying just to get the ball upfield a little bit. Maybe picked up 1 on the play, spot the ball on the 5-yard line, so a 2nd down and 9.
16-year head coach Mitch Marsh trying to go to 3-0 on this night. Lost it last year. Revenge here at Enlow Field, which is Harrison's home field. Still very impressed with this running game against this defense.
And so far, Reitz has done a pretty good job, with the exception of a couple big plays. You look at that 57-yard run by Wilson, the 2nd touchdown for Harrison. But we've not seen too much passing from the Warriors, and that could be something, especially with time running out. If you want to try to get another 6 on the board, go to the air. But I think they're going to be very patient and relax with a 7-point lead at halftime.
And you don't want to throw it away this deep. Sweep to the outside. This was on 3rd and 5, and flags fly.
Sean Bennett on the carry. 2nd time we've seen him past couple times working as a flanker position in that backfield. And again, the flag coming from the referee behind the line of scrimmage. Looks like illegal procedure is going to be called against Harrison.
I think what you're seeing Harrison do right here, Doug, is being a little bit more conservative. You're looking at the clock at 1:43 remaining and 1:50 before the snap. If they throw that away through the air, more than likely, Reitz is going to answer right back and maybe send this into halftime tied up rather than having the lead. So I'm sure that's going through their mind as well. 3rd and 5 here.
And it looks like Reitz has elected to decline the penalty, so now you've got Harrison in a 4th down and about 2 situation. They're not going to risk it. Maybe they try to go for it and get stopped by the defense. That's going to put Reitz in perfect territory to try to score before halftime, so they're going to kick it away.
You expected possibly to see the Reitz defense come on strong like they did. They just saw their offense held short again. then lost it. Panthers begin close to midfield. Right there at about the 50, Doug.
1:20 left, so you're going to see a very quick type of offense.
Didn't take long during that first possession.
That's exactly right. One play, good for 48 yards. Chris Reed getting the first touchdown for Reitz. But I think right now you're going to see maybe a little bit more in the passing area. We've seen a couple pass attempts. Kyle Hendricks came up with a big catch. Also, John Reitziger.
East down here is 1:20 remaining. Harrison leading 14-7 over the Reitz Panthers. Severs, redemption for himself, further downfield, and that was almost picked off. Two came together. I was watching Wilson, I was watching Reitziger. Both had a fair shot at that one.
Kind of up for grabs right there, and it was a matter of who was going to get to the ball first. It looked like Kendall might have the best opportunity coming to the ball. He really couldn't come up with it. John maintained good eye contact with the ball, never lost concentration, and he almost made a big catch.
Second down and 10 here for the Panthers. Surprised to see Severs go right back to the air that quickly.
Not really, because I think Reitz needs to get some momentum, especially going in at halftime, and they've done a pretty good job shutting down Chris Reed for the most part the last couple times. He's gotten a couple of 10-yard runs, but as far as trying to get some points on the board, looked like they were going to go to the passing game.
That again, Reed, his forward motion should have carried him right there to a first down. Clock stopped with 1:05 remaining. That's 1:05 till halftime with the Panthers trailing by 7. So they open up the hole again for Reed, and Reed again impresses.
Moves the ball all the way to the 36-yard line. A pickup of 14 on the play, so good enough for another Reitz first down. The big thing now, though, the clock continues to run. We're under a minute.
55 and counting here. Panthers moved quick earlier. Came close to having a second before being held inside the 5. They threw it away. Severs going to have to pass at least one more time into the hands and out of the hands of Reitziger.
Always a tough pass for a quarterback throwing against your body when you're moving away like that. Almost kind of like a right-hander trying to make a left-hander's throw. Pretty good movement on the ball, though. He got it out there in time. Just John a little bit too quick. I think he might have tried to run with the ball before he actually caught it.
And Reitz here might be trying to get close enough to give Jessup another chance at it. Kick a field goal he missed earlier down the other end. 44 seconds remaining here. You're looking at second down and 10 for the Panthers. Top of your screen again is Reitziger. Expect Severs to go to the air perhaps one more time. Severs has the room, has Reitziger downfield. Through the middle, it looked like it maybe got deflected along the way. They needed that to give Jessup a fair chance.
Good defensive play right there along the front line, and I couldn't exactly see who got a hand on it, but it was deflected before it had a chance to get into that secondary. Incomplete pass stops the clock again, so 39 seconds, but more importantly, you're still looking at a third down and 10 for the Panthers.
Trying to get close enough to grab him a field goal. You'd be trailing by 4 at halftime. Right now, again, 14-7 in favor of Harrison. Scoring done in our first quarter. 39 seconds here to go again till halftime. And Severs going to try it a third time, and Severs runs into too much company.
Chip Kimberlin, one of the defensive ends, along with Chad Lamar, two of the 3 or 4 Harrison Warriors that really got in there and shut down any opportunity. That's going to keep the clock running. Pushes Reitz all the way back to about the 43-yard line.
You know, for all the offense we saw in our first 12, we have not seen all that much, or more so the defense here in the second quarter. 12 seconds remaining, clock stop. That timeout, of course, taken by Harrison. Harrison maybe looking for one big play before going in at halftime. They again were held short back during their last possession. Like I said, it's been a defensive second quarter.
And I think that's kind of what we expected, especially from Reitz coming in, because of their size up front and their ability to fill those holes with a pretty good linebacking crew that they've got. But Harrison came out, reacted immediately. They scored first. Reitz responded right after that. First play from scrimmage after a good run back on the kickoff by Chris Reed. He went 48 yards for the first touchdown for Reitz. Harrison not really holding too much time back by themselves. 150 on their second possession. They went 73 yards, capped off by a 57-yard touchdown run by Wilson, his second.
So on 4th and 16. here for the Warriors. Lander, who has speed anyway, and of course Sean Bennett. Sean Bennett at 6'2", about 190, as fast as they come for that size. On 4th and 16.
It'll be interesting to see what Reitz does with this kick. If they're going to kick it right in the middle of the field, that's going to give Harrison an opportunity for a run back if they elect, but it's also going to run some of the clock out. There you see Reitz, good coverage down at the 14-yard line. 4 seconds left here before halftime.
That took a Reitz bounce. One last play, or one last chance here for the Warriors before we go in at halftime. It appears the Warriors will take the lead into halftime. Clock starts up, and that'll be it. An offensive first quarter, a defensive second quarter. We play 24 and 14-7 in favor of the Warriors.
Pretty good job, really, by both ball clubs in this second quarter. You look at the first quarter, and obviously that's where Harrison had the upper advantage, scoring their first 2 possessions, Wright scoring their first possession. Nothing after that first possession in that first quarter really established as far as offense from the ground game of Wright. They did a better job in the second quarter, just weren't able to get in position to get a touchdown.
That's the way it went last night here at Enlow. Our first half in the book, Harrison 14, Wright 7. We'll return for halftime. More high school football on this Saturday morning on TV 52.
The Tri-State rides on Ray-Ban.
Ray-Ban is where the Tri-State goes for quality tires and friendly service. Ray-Ban has the Goodyear tire for you, or your family car, or your pickup truck. Ray-Ban is the Tri-State service leader, and our certified technicians can do everything from brakes to computerized alignments with a nationwide guarantee.
The Tri-State rides on Ray-Ban. Ray-Ban tire.
Schrader Vending, serving the Evansville area for over 75 years, offers the ideal vending machines for your lunch or break rooms. Machines that feature coffee, soft drinks in cans or cups, a variety of snacks such as chips, candy bars, pastry items, and gum. Also sandwiches, either hot or cold. Let Schrader Vending supply your business with the vending machines that fit your needs. Give them a call at 425-1133. Schrader Vending, locally owned and operated.
Time at Enlow Field from a Friday night, 14-7 in favor of the Harrison Warriors. Joining me here at halftime last weekend, Mike Pointer, equal time to the Evansville Press. David Jackson joins me. Interesting first half, Dave.
It's unbelievable. This was the Reitz defense that was supposed to be impenetrable. But here Harrison's running up and down the field. I'll tell you what, the Warriors have come to play, and they've got an exceptional offensive night going for them.
It was a good offensive first quarter, then all of a sudden in the second quarter, we saw more of that Reitz defense, or the more familiar defense Reitz fans are known to. They held them short a couple of times in that second quarter.
Well, you know, Harrison was working those ends real heavy at the beginning. Then they started bringing it inside a little bit. I think you're going to see a little more work around the ends in the second half. It's interesting how the adjustments have been made by the Reitz defense. They've done a good job shutting some things down, but as they shut one thing down, some other things are going to open up. They're going to have a tough time holding this Reitz team or this Harrison team down tonight.
This is our first look at Harrison on TV 52 this year. Some surprises. He didn't play last year. Kendall Wilson, maybe not a surprise. He just was ineligible last year and is making the most of his senior year.
Well, he's a talented runner. He's also got some very talented people in front of him. They're giving him some holes, and he's making the most of them. I tell you what, it's difficult to believe that they're getting the kind of yardage they are against Reitz's defense. Big guys up there for Reitz, and they're popping 4 and 5 a shot.
Very talented senior race this year. A very talented race all around in all classes. A lot of good quarterbacks this year. Some are 1 and 2 deep. Keith Lander, some are calling him the best in the SIAC as far as the quarterback. If not the best, he's definitely the quickest.
I was in conversation with several people before the game, Darren, and they said that Keith Lander may very well be the most talented quarterback ever to play at Harrison High School. Now the question becomes, how good is he going to be? Only Keith Lander knows that. I don't think he knows how good he can be. He does have that special something that can go big time.
Here at halftime, 14-7 in favor of the Warriors. We'll have more second half from a Friday night after this timeout. Bulldogs.
Have you been put in charge of this year's company picnic, or is it your turn to host this summer's family reunion? Well, Mark's Barbecue can take all the worry and work out of your next get-together. Mark's Barbecue caters events of all sizes with the best in old-fashioned barbecue cuisine, from traditional beef entrees to an entree of slow-roasted pig. We've even got all the fixings to complete the menu, including that hard-to-find burgoo soup. So remember, when it comes to your catering needs, give Mark's Barbecue a call. We deliver satisfaction.
Insurance.
It's one part of financial planning. To help accomplish your financial objectives, why not call us now? James Will Insurance. The right combination of protection, value, response, and service. That's our philosophy, and it has been since 1962. James Will Insurance.
Welcome back to Enlow Field as we watch the best from a Friday night, the Harrison Warriors and the Reitz Panthers. And after the first 24, Harrison leads by a score of 14-7. Doug?
When you look at our first quarter, that's where the scoring was done. Officially, offensive stats in the first half, Harrison ran 24 plays from scrimmage, 19 rushes, good for 131 yards, 2 touchdowns. 3 of 5 in the passing department, good for 33 yards. They had 6 first downs. 25 plays for the Reitz Panthers. They had 16 rushes, 103 yards, and 1 touchdown. 3 for 7 in the air, 39 yards. They picked up 5 first downs.
I want to remind you this broadcast authorized and produced solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. And every broadcast, retransmission, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Evansville Vandenberg School Corporation and WAZ TV 52 is prohibited. Our producers tonight, Rick Goodman and Mickey Bussingham. We welcome aboard Shane Rumsey, back at Master Control on this Saturday morning. Tonight, we will be right back here at Enlow Field. The Memorial Tigers take on the Bossy Bulldogs. You'll see that game at 10:30. Second half action about to happen in front of you. It's Harrison on top of Reitz for the moment by a score of 14-7. Extended halftime for both teams as they had the Lakeview Optimists out here. Like to be a fly on the wall in the locker room of Reitz. Bob Gaddis could not have been pleased.
Well, I think when you look at what the defense let Harrison do back in that first quarter, that's what really, I think, upset him, man. I'm sure that he gave his defense a talking to. They settled down and did a pretty good job in that second quarter. Only 16 yards rushing compared to 115 in the first quarter for the Warriors. The offense really needs to get going now for the Reitz Panthers. Chris Reed had 9 rushes, 94 yards in that first half. Wilson for Harrison, on the other hand, 11 rushes, 98 touchdowns. Those two guys we knew were scoring machines. They have not let us down. Kendall Wilson, 2 touchdowns in the first half. Chris Reed, the lone touchdown for Reitz.
Reitz begins here from the 24-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Just underway in our third quarter. Panthers have some work to do. And here's the man to do it. Chris Reed will pick up, looks like a first down this quickly.
That's something that Reitz was successful on the very first play that they had back in that first quarter. After a pretty good run back from about the 12-yard line all the way to the 48-yard line of Harrison. Then Chris Reed took the first play from scrimmage, 48 yards for the Reitz score. They're going to try to do that again. You saw a good running game from him in the first half. They've also got other people back there. Shane Ricketts, we saw him a couple times. He's capable of busting loose.
First down and 10. Opening minute of our third quarter. And Seavers this time elects again to go to Reed. They read it better that time. No one was better in week 1 at finding the holes than that of Chris Reed, and we watched that right here on 52.
Pick up about 1 on the play, spotted at the 36, so it'll be a 2nd down and 9 situation for Reitz. And I mentioned beginning of the telecast, both teams have established pretty good passing games, and I think that was going to be a big key for both of them tonight. You look at Reitz, 3 for 7, 39 yards. Most of those coming in that first half when they were 3 for 3.
Chris Garrett lines up to the top of your screen. Reed right now on the sideline. That's Reitziger in motion. And our third different ball carrier tonight. That is Brian Vogel. And Vogel has really one to beat, is taken out at the 20-yard line.
Great bust up the middle right there. First time we've seen Brian in the backfield. He is capable of breaking a big one as well. Mainly used as one of the defensive backs on the defense for Reitz, but we saw the speed right there and his ability to read the line. Good touchdown-saving tackle right there. Sean Bennett, one of the cornerbacks, coming all the way over from the other side of the field.
I was wondering what play they were going to use. I saw Reed go to the sideline. I saw Chris Garrett line up to the top of the line. And then I saw Reitziger in motion. I was thinking maybe throwing play for a second. Vogel, first time tonight, has the first down and a whole lot more. Again, here on the 20-yard line, it's 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Here again is Vogel, 2nd time. Not as much success, maybe gains 2 on the play. Looking about 2nd down and 8 for the Panthers.
And that's really going to open the running game a little bit more. I mentioned Shane Ricketts is capable of busting it loose. 6 feet 208 and a junior, but you look at what Brian Vogel brings in. He's the experienced player, 5'9", 157, and he's one of those tough guys that if you hit him, he's not going to go down. It's going to take 2 or 3 of the Warriors to bring him down.
Second out, about 8 here for the Panthers. In striking distance again of tying this one up. What hurt them back in the second quarter. Had it a couple of yards out, were pushed back, and then lost it or turned it over. Third time tonight, Shane Ricketts comes close to a first down.
Depends on where they're going to spot the ball. I think they're going to give him progress to about the 10-yard line, just inside the 10-yard line. So pickup of about 8 on the play. It's going to be first and goal from just inside the 10.
Shane Ricketts, one you look to even more next year on the ground. Shane is just a junior. Following the footsteps maybe of Chris Reed. Reed did the same thing with Vaughn last year. This year, Reed, your go-to man for the most part here on the ground in the opening weeks. Vogel, another good one, trying to find another hole, trying to get to the 5. They held him short maybe to about the 6-yard line.
And interesting to see that Reitz has gone with a different offensive alignment right now. They're trying to get Vogel involved a little bit more. We saw Chris Reed split out a few plays ago when Reitz was down in their own territory.
Second down and 6. More goal to go here for the Panthers. We trail 14-7 to the Warriors. Just under 9 minutes, 8:55 remaining in our third quarter. Trying to find room again to punch that one in for a touchdown. Going to be just short. Nice carry.
Got it close to the goal line, about a yard out.
Chris Reed, who had changed jerseys, Doug. I had to ask who that was. Is that wearing 25?
I saw that 25. In fact, I didn't see the 35 out there. Is why I was looking over to the sidelines, but he has changed.
Yard to go here. Familiar position for the Panthers. Think back to the second quarter. Drop that football again. Could this be costly for the Panthers? Harrison thinks they have it. It's the unraveling of the pile. Can you tell who has the ball? Inside the 5 again. The Warriors will take over. Oh, does that hurt?
Marshawn Merriweather on the bottom of the pile came up with the loose ball, and you can see the officials had to get almost down into that pile to see who had control down there. Now, we talked back in the second quarter, pretty good defensive stand a couple of times the last few times by the Harrison Warriors, shutting down that Reitz offense. They have done it again.
First and 10, I say it again, we are going the other way. But here, the last time they turned it over this deep, I couldn't get anything on the Reitz Panthers defense. Matter of fact, like I said, it was a defensive second quarter. And right now, that storyline follows suit. Trying to break the 5. Little to no gain on the last.
Keith Lander on the quarterback keeper again, just trying to get the ball out of their end zone, if you will. Get it across the 5-yard line and pick up about 3 on the play.
As I mentioned at the top of the telecast, Reitz leads this series 20-8. There was one tie back in 1965. This series began back in 1964. And the biggest blowout of the series came in 72, and Reitz won that one by a score of 51-0. And as far as this series goes, Reitz has won 4 of the last 5. Harrison won in 1991 by a score of 19-13. And again, Reitz won last year in overtime 13-7.
Lander again on the keeper, that time met right at the front line. Scott Vincent, 5'11", 257, and a senior. An interesting move defensively. He was once an offensive guard, and they've moved him on the opposite side of the ball now, a defensive tackle. Also Andy Hape down there to make contact.
Big play in front of you, 3rd down and 5. Big play again for the Reitz defense and the Harrison offense. Didn't work back in the second quarter. Tough to get 5, and they will be kicking.
Sean Bennett on the carry again. We saw him a couple times back in the first half. And it looks like he's going to be just a yard short, about the 9-yard line. Actually needs about 2.5 for a first down.
You know, in the past couple of seasons, this is where the Reitz defense has been most potent, Doug. At either end of the goal lines, whether they're coming out or approaching inside the 5, that has been some tough defense for Reitz to get by. I mean, they're tough anyway, but coming out of your end zone or going into an end zone, it has been tough. is a Harrison bounce.
Great bounce right there, and you can see the backs for Reitz was just going to let it go to see if it might be able to kick back a little bit towards midfield. They're going to spot the ball on the Reitz 45-yard line. Now the Panthers take over. 5:59 left here in our third quarter.
So all the scoring being done in our first quarter. It is defense again here as we come halfway through our third. First down and 10 for the Panthers. Reed now checking where's number 25. Reitz again in motion through the back. Here again is Reed. And Reed coming close again to another Panthers first down.
Chad Lamar and Marshawn Merriweather there to greet him. Picks up almost 10 yards. It looks like he's going to be a little bit short. Pickup of about 9, so it'll be 2nd and 1. Well, they're going to say they did get the first down.
First and 10 for the Panthers, and 5:15 now remaining in our third quarter. Twice the Panthers have had it inside the 5, only to turn it over. Severs keeps it on the ground. Shane Ricketts picks up half the distance. 2nd down and 5.
Mentioned Shane's numbers last week in that big win against the Central Bears. 14 carries, 82 yards. Reed had 16 carries, good for 181 yards, and he had 3 touchdowns.
I'd like you to join us tonight at 10:30. We're right here at Enlow Field when the Bossy Bulldogs take on the Memorial Tigers. Our next Reitz telecast will be in 3 weeks. Friday night, October 1st against North. Harrison returns in 2 weeks, September 24th, against the Wildcats. Tough one against each other tonight. More of the defense we have been talking about.
And they've done that 2 or 3 times where they've really shut down any running game for the Reitz Panthers. That time one of the linebackers, Ed Hathaway. Another big one for Harrison, 6'3", 225, and a senior.
3rd down and 3. First look at Harrison Doug, and I'm very impressed in 1993 with these Warriors.
Had a pretty good nucleus coming back from last year, and you look at what they were able to do outside of the couple losses to North. They had a very good season.
Reed has a ways to go with that sweep to the outside. It is going to be close. Most of us running behind the line of scrimmage trying to fight to get that first down. We'll see where they mark the ball and see what happens in this pile.
Looks like from where they're going to mark it, it's going to be inside the 35-yard line, so that's going to be another first down. Pickup of about 4 on the play. Mark it on the Harrison 34.
You know, the way this game began, you're expecting a very high-scoring affair. It just took a little while for the defense to get in sync. Reitz again threatening. It's 1st and 10. And they are inside the 35. 3:25 remaining in our third quarter. Reitz now cuts to the bottom of your screen. They'll keep it on the ground. 2nd effort by Ricketts. Ricketts getting his share of calls tonight also, Doug.
As I mentioned earlier, that's going to be a key, I think, for Reitz to establish a good running game. Chris Reed has been the workhorse the majority of the game tonight. Well, we've also seen Ricketts a couple times. We've seen an opportunity where they brought Brian Vogel in a couple times. Good contact right there. Kevin Sissel, the outside linebacker, right at the line of scrimmage, actually lost about a yard on the play, so it's going to be 2nd and 11.
Harrison's done a good job also of holding Reed below his average, at least in the last couple of quarters. Reed, who rushed for 114, 181 yards in the previous 2 victories over New Albany and Central. Again, credit the Harrison defense to at least stop him somewhat. Option here back to the air. Reitz holding on.
They've used that quite a bit tonight with the man in motion going off and just running a little down and out pattern. That is good for about 5 yards as far as the passing play. And then John finding open room a little bit. Kendall Wilson there to make contact.
So the all-important 3rd down and 5 here. Coming up on 2 minutes to play here in our third quarter. Reitz trying to whittle away again. It's the 3rd time they've done this now to get this deep. On plays like this, popular 3rd down conversions. They've done it again. Chris Reed inside inside the 20 for Reed and company.
And he does such a good job of really deking the defenders once he gets into that secondary. As far as the linebackers and the cornerbacks coming up, he's able to read how they're going to be coming up. And you can see a couple moves to the left, cuts back to the right. Good enough another for a Reitz first down, gets the ball all the way to about the 19-yard line.
So here come the Panthers again. Once to the air this possession, or this drive for Seavers. That was the short stuff to Reitz. Second effort gets you out to about the 15-yard line.
Chris Reed again, the ball carrier, picks up about 3 on the play.
Again, the numbers on Reed coming into this one. Had 114 yards against New Albany. That was impressive. The night he had 3 touchdowns. 181 yards a weekend ago against the Central Bears. Second down and 7 here for the Panthers. Reitz goes to the bottom of your screen. Jessup lines up to the top, back to the ground. Here's Reed. Chris Reed brings it out to about the 2 and just short again of the touchdown. This is what I've been talking about inside the 5, and they've turned it over the last 2 times.
And that is going to be a big possession right now. Another first down for the Panthers. Inside the 5-yard line, they're going to spot it about the 3. Pick up a 13 on the play. You can see that Reitz offensive line really starting to get some big holes again, like we saw in that second quarter. And once Chris gets into the middle linebacking area, there's nobody really there, and he just uses that speed to get to the secondary.
First and goal, 3 to go here. Panthers trying again not to be denied a 3rd time. There again, a tough defense acting up for the Warriors. That may be it in our 3rd quarter.
This has really been the point of the ball game where Harrison has been able to take control with the obvious problems that Reitz had as far as coughing the ball up. But the defense has really come up with big plays as well. Ricketts there on the carry, gained nothing.
All the scoring done in our 1st quarter. The last 2 have been nil. We head to the 4th quarter. 14-7 with Reitz knocking on the door. High school football continues on WAZ TV 52.
This is an account that people can really use. No surprises. One fee covers everything.
Right. Customers don't want to be nickeled and dimed. We've built a checking account that people will want to change banks for. One that earns interest and gives discounts on loans. Right.
Leadership. That's a good word. It's the key word. It's a good account.
Leadership Plus Checking from Citizens, the bank that's leading the way.
Okay, folks. Let's get the word out.
The 94s are here, and Expressway Dodge is celebrating all this month. Your #1 Dodge dealer has the largest selection of 94 Dodge inventory in the country, like the all-new revolutionary 94 T300 Ram pickup, plus our huge selection of Caravans, Intrepids, the all-new Dakota, Spirits, Shadows, and even a couple of Vipers. The 94s have arrived, and you do get more in 94. Celebrate with us. Guaranteed lowest prices continue at your no-nonsense dealer, Expressway Dodge.
We'll be here tonight. Game time on TV 52, 10:30 Memorial in Bosse. Right here, Reitz trying to strike second time against the Warriors. They trail 14-7. We are set to begin our 4th quarter at Enlow. Reitz looking for their first lead, at least to tie a second time. Reed, touchdown!
Out his second touchdown tonight, so both Chris Reed and Kendall Wilson, each with a pair of touchdowns. They had 3 apiece in both Wright's first games and also Harrison's first 2 games.
Ryan Jessup for the point after this would be to tie at 14. Again, Vogel will hold, and we have a flag before we get going here with the PAT.
Called against the Warriors, so it's going to push half the distance to the goal, a little bit shorter distance for the extra point.
14-13, and Reitz trying to tie. It was a classic last year between the Warriors and the Panthers, and this one's shaping up to be the same way. It is shaped up, and we're in the final 12 minutes. Again, Jessup for the point after. It is up, it is good, and we are tied at 14. Just underway in our fourth quarter. A brand new ball game between Reitz and Harrison. High school football continues on TV 52.
To the past, where the people are friendly and the food is good. The North Main Annex, 701 North Main Street. Oh, baby.
This 9 to 5 is really starting to get me. I'm looking out for the start of the weekend. Gotta get my hands on something. My do-it center store is where it starts to happen. I love Saturday morning. I love Saturday morning. I love Saturday morning at my do-it center store. Give me a hammer, hand me a saw. I'm not slowing down till I've done it all. I love Saturday morning at my do-it center store.
We are tied at 14. About 6 minutes of play right there. Good job by the Reitz Panthers moving the ball down. They started at the Harrison 45-yard line, capped off by a 3-yard touchdown run by Chris Reed. Pretty good onside right there as far as trying to get the ball back. And you can see Harrison trying to get good field position again. And now it's going to be up to the Warriors to come out and try to start things offensively.
Chad Lamar brings it out to the 36-yard line where it's 1st and 10 here for the Warriors. Again, our next Reitz telecast will be in 3 weeks on Friday night, October 1st against the North Huskies, back in its normal time at 10:30. And the Harrison Warriors join us in just 2 weeks, Friday night, September 24th, against the Mater Dei Wildcats. 14-14 and 1st and 10 here for the Harrison Warriors. And Lander wants to keep it on the ground for now, and he is taken back for a loss. This was the defense you didn't see back in the first quarter.
And we mentioned coming out of halftime, they probably got a little talking to at halftime. Kendall Wilson, the carry again. No gain on the play, so 2nd down and 10 now. Still at the 36 of Harrison.
1 minute gone here on the fourth quarter. Game tied at 14 if you're joining us on this Saturday afternoon. And Lander. Not even Bennett, with his size, could advance the football.
Well, it looks like Reitz has come out, and defensively here in the second half, they are not going to let Harrison do what they were able to do back in that first half. First possession was 3 downs and punt for the Harrison Warriors. Halfway through the middle of that third quarter, Reitz had 2 possessions. They ran 8 plays before a fumble down on the goal line. Then they went 10 plays with a 3-yard touchdown run by Reed.
Loss of 4 on the play. This is 3rd down and 14 for the Warriors. Talk about the defense giving momentum to the offense. Harrison here, a little bit of trouble, going to stop him short again. Harrison will be kicking. Here comes the kicking unit. And all the noise is to the far side of the field.
Wilson again on the carry, picks up maybe a yard on the play. Well, it's a 33-yard line, but now you're looking at a 4th, about 13. So Harrison, for the second time here in the second half, 3 downs and a punt.
Vogel and Reed inside the 30 here. Not a bad kick considering. Signals for the fair catch. Reed will begin. And on the 29-yard line.
Now, we mentioned last week in our coverage, a lot of times you see the defense come out and play great football, and an opportunity for now where the offense for Reitz can come out and do a good job. They kind of got a good feed from that defense before.
We'll take this timeout with 9:29 remaining. High school football continues on TV 52.
E.M. Sable & Associates, insurance and investment products for both business and personal planning. They say only 2 things in life are inevitable, death and taxes. But when it comes to the well-being of yourself, employees, or loved ones, planning is a must. Without it, death and taxes can become a nightmare. At EM Sable, they take care in assisting clients with life and health insurance, personal and business planning, and employee benefits. They've been successful because they help eliminate your fear of the inevitable. Make life your best investment with EM Sable and Associates. So you don't want a new car, but you do want a good used car. Go to Fairway Auto Sales first, where you will always get a fair deal on a quality used vehicle. At Fairway, you'll get a fair deal on everything from Cadillacs and Camaros to Lasers and vans. And when you drive away from Fairway Auto Sales, you can be certain you've received a well-maintained automobile from a salesman who knows it's the quality and price of the car that sells, not the salesman. Fairway Auto Sales, under new ownership at 801 North Fairs, with on-the-lot financing available, or you will get the best for your money.
On at Enlow Field with Doug Emig. I'm Darren Smith. Reitz on 1st and 10. May have gained about 8 on the play. A dropped football, and the Panthers fortunate to get it right back.
And that has been a problem all night, where they've had loose hands right there. The ball's come loose, and you can see Harrison, as soon as they see Reed come through that offensive line, they start hitting him right around the waist area just to try to knock that ball loose a little bit. Reitz right on top there. Actually picked up about 7, so you're looking at a 2nd and 3.
9:22 remaining, 4th quarter. Game tied at 14. Something a little different by the Panthers offense.
Did a pretty good job in that 3rd quarter when they went for their 2nd touchdown of keeping the ball on the ground, and it was Chris Reed the majority of the time. We saw Brian Vogel, the first possession they had back in the 3rd quarter. We've also seen a couple of times Shane Ricketts, the fullback, carry the ball.
3rd down and 3 for the Panthers. Here's a big play coming up. 8:52 remaining, 4th quarter, and the game tied at 14 between 2-0 Harrison and 2-0 Reitz. Reitz to the bottom of the screen. Keep it on the ground for the moment. Chris Reed has a ways to go. And he did not get there.
And we saw a defensive stand basically for the 2nd and 3rd quarter from both ball clubs. Reitz came out and did a very good job in the 3rd quarter. Beginning of the 4th quarter here, when Harrison had a chance to try to get something going. Depends on where they spot this ball. From our indication right here, it's going to be very close.
Yeah, it's going to be close at 4th and maybe less than 1. Interesting to see what Gannis will call here if it is short. Let's take a look at the marking down below. It's close, Doug. It is short by, I'd say, less than half a yard.
About a football's length, maybe a little less. And it looks like Reitz is bringing out on the punting unit. 8:26 left to go in the ball game. We're tied at 14, and I'm kind of surprised at this. Maybe I thought if you were going to go for a short yardage, you could use Chris on a keeper and just try to pick up a yard. Don't forget about a possible fake, though, either.
I'm thinking about that, and also if they do kick it away, don't forget the Reitz defense has come more to be like the Reitz defense in these past couple of quarters. Yeah, they'll get rid of it. Jessup inside the 30, and that takes a big Reitz bounce to about the 9-yard line, to be exact, and starting deep here to the Warriors.
And Darren, I think the exact reason we saw him kick there was what you talked about. The defense has played spectacular here in the 2nd half. Harrison's only had the ball twice. Both times they've run 3 downs, been forced into a punting situation. Now you push them all the way back to their own 10-yard line. Still a lot of time left in this ball game, but right now the Reitz defense is what's got them back in the ball game.
1st down and 10 for the Warriors. All of their scoring has been in the 1st quarter. Reitz answered 2 possessions ago to tie it at 14. Under 8 minutes here to go in the 4th quarter. The most success they've had their last 2 possessions now, offensively. Pick up maybe 6 or 7.
Sean Bennett again on the carry, and Harrison has gone to a 3-back offense right now. You've got Lamar back there. You've also got Wilson. They're using the flanker Bennett back there as well.
2nd down and 4 here for the Warriors. 14-14, 7.5 remaining in our 4th quarter. Lander, more room this time for Wilson.
That's what Harrison was successful doing back in the 1st quarter when they put their 2 touchdowns on the board. Give the ball to Kendall, and he's doing a job right now out to the 30-yard line. Pick up
of about 16 on the play. Again, the numbers on Wilson coming in. 108 yards, 144 yards. Those are the two victories over Jeffersonville and North last week. First and 10 again for the Warriors. That time, Bennett. Like I said back in the first quarter, Doug, for 6'2", 190, Bennett can move with the best of them for that size.
Very good quickness, and again, he's got pretty good strength in his legs, and that's why you're going to see, I think, the Reitz defense really start trying to wrap up around the leg area of all the Harrison runners.
Gain of 8, second down 2. Again, this is Wilson. Just over midfield come the Warriors. Most success maybe they've had against this defense, Doug, since the first quarter.
Well, it's really doing a good job right now. After we mentioned earlier, in the third quarter they had 3 plays and were forced to punt, kept it on the ground the majority of the time. Here in the second half, they have yet to go to the air. That last one pickup of 12, second first down for Harrison on this drive.
Wilson taken back a little. They tried to strip that football again. 4 on Wilson. He is a tough kid, that Kendall Wilson.
Very tough to bring down. You can see it's taking 2 or 3 of the Reitz Panthers to bring him down. Andy Hape, again, one of the middle linebackers right there to make contact. Pick up maybe a yard on the play. They're going to spot it at the 49.
Kendall Wilson goes 5'10", about 175 here. 5.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. This game tied at 14. Harrison and Reitz trying to remain unbeaten here in the 93 season. Lander back to a passing game. Pass complete. Chad Lamar.
Went back to the 2-back system in the offensive backfield right there with Lamar and also Wilson. Bennett, the flanker, was split out towards the far side of the field on the right. You can see Lamar coming out of his fullback position. Nobody as far as the linebackers really picked him up. Lander rolled to his right, saw that he was wide open. Another first down now, spotted on the 36.
Game tied at 14, and this has really been a good one. And on paper, it looked like a good one. Everyone this week says this would be a good one. They were right.
It's a good one.
Bennett had to struggle to get back to the line of scrimmage. It looked like he may have lost a yard on that.
Very close. They're going to still spot it close to the 36, so still call it 2nd and 10.
Official timeout with one tying the shoelace. Second and 10 here for the Warriors.
Wishbone look again with 3 in the back. Lamar, the front back. Wilson and Bennett split behind him.
And it's been successful. We'll try it again. Lander. Third time to pass. Open again is Bennett. I'm sorry, make that Matt Elliott for his first call tonight.
Tight end. Did a good job of running a pattern right there. 6'3", 176 and a junior. And again, good composure from the quarterback, Keith Lander. Not really pressured. You saw he was forced out of the pocket a little bit towards the near side of the field, but he reversed real well, set up and made a good pass.
14-14, 4.5 remaining. And again, first and 10 for the Warriors. Reitz defense toughens up. And you look at second down and 10 for Harrison.
Lamar on the carry right there. Pick up maybe 1 on the play. Just inside the 19, so second down and 9.
Last Saturday night, we saw Memorial in Mater Dei play right down to the wire. Similar as we watch this one back on a Saturday afternoon. Lander again can scramble with the best of them. This worked back in the first quarter for the most part. The option to Wilson and a sweep to the outside.
And that's the quickness of a good quarterback along with a very quick tailback. Picked up about 3 on the play. Ball marked at the 15-yard line. And that's really what got the offense going for Harrison back in the first quarter.
The right side starts to stand up. Why? This is 3rd down and 5. Big play right here. Right there on about the 15-yard line. Here's where the Reitz defense can be really tough. Harrison hasn't had that much problem with it here in the 4th quarter. Again, they go to the sweep to the outside. This is Bennett. Bennett has the room, and he's taken it for the touchdown. The Warriors have their first score since the first quarter and are back on top of the Reitz Panthers by a score of 20-14.
Same look as we saw a while ago with a different tailback right there, the flanker in that wishbone attack right there, Sean Bennett. You could see once he got it around the corner, none of the linebackers or cornerbacks for Reitz were over on this side. And you could see it almost, he saw that goal line, he was not going to be stopped. Knocked out just as he got his foot inside the red pylon.
I recall the last Saturday night when that Mater Dei Memorial game took place, this point after is very, very important. Still 3:03 showing on the clock. And right now, they're going to talk about it.
And for whatever reason, Harrison has elected to take a timeout. I don't know if they didn't have enough personnel on the field, or looked like maybe Sean Bennett lost his mouthpiece. And instead of risking a penalty, they decided to take a timeout and make sure that everybody's out there and they know what's going to happen.
Well, if you're looking for a quick offense for the Panthers, they did have that back in the first quarter. On the first play from scrimmage, it was Reed. Just like that, the game was tied at 7. Harrison on their second possession took a 14-7 lead. That was it until recently. They take this 20-14 lead in between times. Back in the third quarter, Chris Reed does it again. 20-14. And Craig Stewart trying to kick it through a third time tonight. Let's take this timeout. 3:03 remaining. You're watching high school football on TV 52.
Ask some people what they look for in a bank, and you might hear. Ask a few others, and you'll hear. But don't stop there. Someone else will probably tell you thereafter, and there'll always be countless others who demand. Fortunately, there's one bank where you'll find all these. Isn't that?
The reputation and quality of service at Zeemers has always been outstanding.
Our priorities for choosing a funeral home were reputation, quality of service, and location. In our opinion, Zeemers ranks tops on all 3.
I would recommend Zeemers to anyone thinking about pre-planning.
Zeemer Funeral Homes, serving the area's pre-planning and funeral needs with generations of trust and experience.
I'm Darren Smith with Doug Emmett. 3:03 remaining for the Reitz Panthers, who trail 21-14. This again is Reed, and Reed gets out to about the 32. It begins here for the Panthers, 2:59 showing.
As you mentioned a while ago, they did it back in that first quarter. One play from scrimmage, a good run back on the kickoff by Chris Reed after Harrison scored their first touchdown. He went 48 yards. And what an outstanding drive right there from Harrison. 11 plays, they started at their own 10-yard line. Everything on the ground with Bennett and basically Wilson. Lamar, a couple carries. Couple passing plays, but it was Sean Bennett from 15 to give Harrison the lead again.
First option on the ground, it works. Here again is Reed, who picks up the first down. And that, my friends, took all of about 8 seconds.
Very explosive back in the first quarter, and we've seen good defense from both clubs, especially Reitz. The first 2 possessions Harrison had here in the second half, but Harrison able to figure it out on that third possession. Getting close now to midfield, ball at the 42.
You've got Reed, you've got Ricketts, you've got Vogel. All excellent on the ground. Option here to Reitz. Should drop the football in and out of his hands. If that had worked, that would have been some trouble.
Another screen set up. You can see that the blockers had moved towards the middle of the field, and that's exactly where John was heading. Again, right in his hands, and that's two that I'm sure that he thought he should have had tonight.
Second down and 10, 2:22 remaining fourth quarter. 21-14, Harrison trying to go to 3-0. Reitz trying to tie it up and send it into overtime. Severs will go his longest tonight into a crowd. Incomplete.
Looking for Reitz again. Sean Bennett along with Marshawn Merriweather back on double coverage. And that's one thing Harrison is looking for right now from their defensive backs and their safety. Don't let anybody get behind you.
Third down and 10. I was a little surprised to see Severs go to the air with the success of their ground game, with the success of Reed, Vogel, and at times Ricketts tonight. On 3rd and 10. Suspect he'll be passing again. Severs has several options this time. Down the middle, deflected. Oh, is that close for Ryan Jessup. Reitz through his hands. Jessup maybe a yard and a half too far in front of him. On 4th and 10, you've got to go for it if you're the Panthers.
At this point in the ball game, only 2:10 left here in the fourth quarter. You can see Chris looking over to the sidelines, waiting for the play to come in. First possession of this drive, a 10-yard run by Chris Reed. Got him first down and got him to the 42. That's where we are right now. 3 incomplete passes. This is a big play.
Reitz, top of your screen. Not the best of passing attacks tonight for Severs and company. He has to hit here. It's nowhere. 1st and 10. We are going the other way. And Harrison is starting to believe the revenge has happened here at 93.
Still some time left, and we've seen what this Reitz defense is capable of doing. I think right now they're concerned with getting the ball back, so you're going to see a lot of heads going into the midsection trying to knock the ball loose. If you're Harrison, you want to keep the ball on the ground, keep that clock running, and for your backs, make sure that you wrap both arms around the ball.
First down and 10 for the Warriors. They have the football. They have the lead 21-14 with 2:06 remaining. Again, wishbone here for Lander. And they create a hole. And it'll be close to a first down. Again, Kendall Wilson.
I believe that was Bennett again on the carry. One of the right halfbacks in that wishbone formation, and it's going to be close to another first down, a little bit short. But you're moving the ball, and again, you're running time off the clock.
About a yard short. Second down and 1. Clock check, 1.5 remaining. Warriors just won't be an honorable mention anymore if they can hold on here. There's your first down. Chad Lamar grabs it for him. 1st and 10 for the Warriors. Clock stopped, 1:22 remaining.
Inside the 30 to about the 29-yard line. Reitz takes the timeout. They've got 3 left here in the second half.
So the Warriors, well, I think surprised a lot of us. And again, this is, Doug, our first look at Harrison this year, back in the first quarter. Have lived up to that speed you and I have been reading about. Folks, you betcha, these Warriors are for real.
Well, I think when they started out the season with that impressive 42-12 victory over Jeffersonville, that kind of opened some people's eyes. They knew that they had a pretty good ball club coming back. As we said earlier in the telecast, I think the points and the success that they had even surprised Mitch. He did not expect a dominant play like that. When you look at what they were able to do, 18 first downs, they had 264 yards on the ground. Only 1 penalty, 1 fumble, so they were doing everything right. Then last week they had 205 yards on the ground, and again, it's been Kendall Wilson. 20 yards, 108 carries, 3 touchdowns against Jeffersonville. Last week against North, he had 26 carries, 144 yards, 3 touchdowns. And they have been able to do something, I think, that people kind of questioned coming in with the size of this Reitz club, offensively and defensively. Could they handle it?
1st and 10, 1:22 remaining. Reitz is looking just for one more time with the football. One coach said before the season started, and it wasn't on Harrison's staff, that Harrison is just as talented as anybody in this area.
Second time out by Reitz, so they've got one left. And you can see again, Harrison just keeping the ball on the ground. Wilson again on the carry. Actually, maybe lost 1.5 yards on the play, but you're not concerned with that. You want that clock to keep running.
And at times tonight, I was very impressed with the Harrison defense. I mentioned that the former coordinator, John Williams, who has been with Harrison the past 16 years, resigned over the summer to take the assistant principal job. And now the former line coach of Harvey Robbins is the new defensive coordinator. I think old Harvey would have to be happy what he'd seen here tonight.
He's done a very good job, and you look at really the ability to shut down a very good Reitz ball club. We talked last year, this game very close across town last year, and a 13-7 victory in overtime by the Panthers. But I think Harrison really pumped up. They knew that they had a chance to be in this ball game tonight, and it's obvious they have been able to follow on the field what they talked about and did during practice.
Second down and 11 with 1:10 remaining. This is a big play right here. They want to shut him down, and Harrison continues. Still going to be short of that first down. They'll stop the clock with 59 seconds remaining.
Chad Lamar, the ball carrier on the play, gets it to about the 21. Pickup of a 10, so he's going to be about 2 yards short. And this is the final timeout for the Panthers.
So if the Panthers can hold him here, they've got to move quickly, which at times last season and this season and earlier here tonight has not been a problem. It's a long shot, 59 seconds left. Panthers trail 21-14, and they're facing 3rd and 2 defensively.
But the big thing for Harrison right now is you want to keep the ball on the ground. You want to try to get a first down. If you get into a 4th down situation, you might see him bring on the field goal. So that's going to put it out of reach with a 10-point lead should they be able to make it.
On 3rd down and 2. It would make for an interesting field goal right now, Doug, just outside the 20. Let's see what happens here. On 3rd and 2. Reitz keeps glancing over at the clock and seeing 59 seconds remaining.
They can't stop it anymore, so if you see Harrison put the ball on the ground, they're going to shove it in and just let that clock run.
3rd down and 2 for the Warriors. Harrison picks it up, or it'll be very close.
Sean Bennett, the carrier again, well enough for the first down. He's going to get close to the 15. They're going to spot it about the 16.
Harrison looking to go to 3-0. Clock ticking away, 45 seconds remaining. Another good football game here on 52.
Good job by that schedule maker. Who did that? No, I think because of the level of play that things have really picked up in the city this year, and you expect to see good matchups like this just about every week.
You know, it's really balanced, Doug, and later on tonight on TV 52, you will see Bosse and Memorial. That shapes up a lot like this one. Memorial is going to look to revenge last weekend's last-second loss to Mater Dei, while the Bosse Bulldogs will try to make it 3 in a row to join these guys. It's the Harrison Warriors in week number 3 over the Reitz Panthers, revenging that overtime loss 365 days ago.
They came out and immediately let the Reitz Panthers and the Reitz fans themselves know that this was not going to be an easy ball game for Reitz. They did a good job controlling the ball in the first couple of quarters. Both of their touchdowns in the first half came in that first quarter. Kendall Wilson, 2 runs, 4 yards, and 57. Reitz responded right after that first touchdown with Chris Reed, his first of 2 touchdowns tonight. But it was a little bit too much Harrison. A good job by the Reitz defense, though, in the third quarter.
21-14, that is your final. When we come back, we'll talk about this one and get you set for tonight. High school football on TV 52 continues after this.
You saw the car of your dreams today, and you said, I got to have it. We want you to know there's one place to go to get what you want when you want it. You know deep inside you need a new ride, and we know how that makes you feel. When you get
insurance. Unfortunately, it costs. Fortunately, it pays. James Will Insurance. It takes a positive attitude to succeed, and that positive attitude has been firmly in place since 1962 to do the best we can for every client. James Will Insurance.
Well, on a Friday night, the Harrison Warriors go to 3-0, 21-14 over the Reitz Panthers. A very impressive win and a couple of impressive good plays from this guy, Kendall Wilson. A great victory for you guys as you guys prepare for Central.
Yes, it was. Basically, the coaches just told us to come out and play hard and, you know, do what we could to win. And that's what we did. We sucked it up after they scored and tied it 14-14. And we took a great drive away from them, so...
You have some good offensive help there. Always helps having Keith there and a couple others on the offensive line to make those holes for you. Open up a couple for you tonight.
Yes, our line, it did good. It kind of blowed Reitz off the ball a lot. And Keith, he's just a great quarterback. And he's young, he's talented, real athletic. And our line, the line is just great. That's all I can say. The line is great.
What does this do to the Harrison confidence? You guys knew you had a great team coming in. You just beat a very good, impressive team in a good ball game.
Yes, we did beat a good team. And, well, the coaches said all week that we had the talent to beat them, and we just came out and did what we had to do to win the game, and we won it.
Kendall, congratulations. A great one here tonight.
Thank you.
That's Kendall Wilson. I'm Darren Smith. We wrap it up at Enlow Field after this.
Gus Sterner Sports is the winning edge.
If your car gets in the path of someone else's, bring it to the professionals at Eisler Auto Body Shop. Our repairmen are experienced in all types of automobile repairs, major and minor. We're dependable. For 25 years, Eisler Auto Body Shop has been under the same ownership. We're dedicated to quality service at reasonable prices. For a free estimate, call the pros at Eisler Auto Body Shop, 111 South Heidelbach. We'll work hard to make your car look and run as good as new. And remember, no job is too big or too small.
1-14, that's a final. The Harrison Warriors live up to their name. A very, very good football team. And, Doug, they beat a very good team.
They did that, and we had a good game last week, Mater Dei over Memorial, as we talked about last week. Regardless of who you're for in a game like this is just great football. Harrison a little bit too tough here, but I think Reitz knows what they're going to have to do. They did a good job in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. The first two times Harrison got the ball in the second half, a little bit too much ground game, and again, Mr. Wilson, he had a heck of a night.
One thing we always say about the SIAC, it's so tough at times, it's so balanced at times, it gets you ready for the postseason. What are the Reitz Panthers going to learn from this loss?
Well, I think for one thing, they're going to realize that they have to get a little bit tougher. For whatever reason, they had a breakdown in that first quarter. That's where really Harrison won the ball game. They got the first two touchdowns in the first quarter. Reitz sandwiched one in between there, and then the second and third quarter was basically a standoff of both defenses. But for whatever reason, Harrison was able to move the ball very well in that first quarter, and that's something I think the coaches are going to look at, kind of break it down a little bit and find out what happened.
You're about 5.5, 6 hours away from another game out here at Enlow Field. One thing about coming on Saturday morning in the afternoon, we can talk about the game coming up tonight. Doug, it's Bosse and Memorial, and like this one, it should be close.
Well, we saw Memorial last week, and you mentioned on the air during the game that they've got revenge on their mind because they didn't want to get beat last week to Mater Dei, and when you get a loss like that, a lot of times you got a very tough week of practice ahead of you. They got really an extra day. Instead of playing on Friday night, they get to play again on Saturday. So I'm sure that Coach Weinzappel and his staff really prepared them well. We saw Bosse earlier this year. Very good speed again from that ball club. So it's going to be a matter of who breaks down who easiest.
Bosse and Memorial right here at Enlow Field at 7:30 tonight. You can see the replay of that game at 10:30 tonight right here on TV 52. And Doug and I talk to you next tonight at 10:30. But for now, for Doug Emig, I'm Darren Smith. Good afternoon.
TV 52 now joins its scheduled programming already in progress.
This has been a presentation of TV 52 Sports, recognized around the tri-state as the leader in local sports programming.
Call 800-345-9300 now.
Every day, folks from across the country come to Miracle Ear with questions about hearing loss and hearing aids. Now you can get straight answers to some of the most common questions in this free booklet, Straight Talk About Hearing Loss. And that's exactly what you'll get. Call now and discover for yourself the answers to questions like these.
What is nerve deafness? How do I know if I have it?
Is there anything I can do to hear better on the phone or in noisy places?
How can I find out if a hearing instrument can help me?
How can I help my husband realize that he may have a hearing loss? Get the answers to these questions and many more by calling for your free booklet, Straight Talk About Hearing Loss. Both the call and the information are free. By calling this number now, Miracle Ear will also send you a list of hearing centers near you, where hearing tests are always free. Call now.
Hi, I'm Chris McHenry. Last season, Michigan and Notre Dame battled to a 17-17 tie. Today's outcome shouldn't be so close. It wouldn't make sense. After all, Michigan crushed Washington State last week while a young Notre Dame team struggled against Northwestern. But the luck of the Irish can drive teams senseless. So Michigan never takes Notre Dame lightly.
You're startled to some degree, not startled, but I mean, you jump back because you know it's a tough opponent, but you want to play them. You don't want to play them every week, but you want to play them.
What can you say about Michigan, Notre Dame? And nothing has to be said. It's just Notre Dame, and any team that plays Notre Dame, I don't care who they are, across the country, it's going to be Notre Dame. It's Notre Dame, and nothing has to be said to describe the great emotions and nerves that are going to come with it. And
Washington State. Last year, the Irish held Wheatley to just 27 yards. With postseason play out for Washington, tonight's Big Ten Pac-10 battle with Ohio State is their Rose Bowl. But for the Buckeyes, who plan on going to the real thing, they know this is a must-win.
Probably our big bowl game of the year. I think the Apple Cup and maybe some USC kind of games, but this is definitely our biggest game of the year as far as national exposure, national TV, Buckeye Stadium. So we're looking forward to a real tough physical game, but let alone it's also an opportunity for us to go out in front of the nation and show them what we can do.
We're on a mission ourselves, and Washington just happened to be one of the victims on our schedule. So we're not going to look at it as though they're going to come in here angry and try to calm them down. They're going to have to calm us down.
Washington should be stronger on the ground this week. Beano Bryant is back after missing the Stanford game. John Robinson's USC Trojans fell to North Carolina 2 weeks ago, then trounced Houston last week. Which USC team will show up this week? Robinson hopes it's the one that will silence the roaring Nittany Lions.
Go into those kind of places and play and test yourself and all of that and know that you're in a big arena with lots of people. The best sound in all the world is in the last minute when you've got them beat and it's quiet and you can see them filing out. That's the best.
Southern Cal won the last matchup in 91. Here's the rest of the action. That's sports. I'm Chris McHenry. More news next.
Foster Brooks, the man who took Johnny Carson by surprise.
I said, well, what happened? He said, well, by the time we got a hole cut in the ice big enough for the motorboat, we were too tired to fish.
Appearing for 10 consecutive years in Las Vegas in the largest casinos. Jack Benny once said, no one wants to follow Foster on stage. Call the number on your screen now and order the funniest man alive. This veteran of The Tonight Show, The Dean Martin Roast, The Bill Cosby Show, The Smothers Brothers Show, and countless other TV shows.
I had one brother-in-law went ice fishing one day, brought home 200 pounds of ice.